What's good, YouTube? Quasar here. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my UA deck profile. This deck's a great budget deck that's semi-competitive. You could probably pick up a decent deck for like under $100. So I'm going to show you my version of UAs. So starting off, we have 3 copies of Midfielder. He's like your main go-to UA. He's the only level 4 in the deck, so he's normal summonable. Basically, with him, during either player's turn, you're allowed to return a monster back to your hand in order to special summon another UA, which is basically how the archetype works. You return one to your hand, special summon another one with a different name, just like bait and switch tactics. Basically, that's just what the deck does. Moving on, we have your ace of the deck right here, UA Perfect Ace. He's really good for just stalling. Basically, whenever your opponent would activate spell trap or monster effect, you can discard a card, negate the effect, destroy it. So he's really good for defense. Then on the offensive end, another level 5 is UA Mighty Slugger. He's really good too. He's basically like an Armades. Your opponent can't activate spell or traps until after the damage step. So he's really good for like beating down your opponent, especially when you equipped Power Jersey onto him. Another really good beat stick we play is Dreadnought Dunker. He has 2500 attack. Whenever he inflicts damage to your opponent, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. So that's a really good effect there. We play 2 copies of Blockbacker. He's another really good defensive card. You just sit on him with his 2700 defense. Whenever your opponent would special summon a monster, you can change its battle position and negate the monster's effect. So that's really good. And also for the last UA monster, another defensive player is UA Goalkeeper. He has 2800 defense, and whenever a UA would be destroyed, you can target a UA monster and then negate its destruction once per turn, either player's turn. It's a quick effect, so it's really good for protection. Your opponent, like Regekis or something, you can just target one of your UAs that you need and just keep that monster on board. And lastly, for monsters, I play 2 copies of Effect Veiler as well. This card's gaining a lot of popularity with the new meta. It's becoming a lot more helpful in stopping like that first turn infinity, things like that. So that's 16 monsters to round up my monsters. Moving on to spells, we play 3 copies of UA Stadium. It's really important to see this card early because whenever one of your UAs is normal summoned, usually going to be midfielder, but whenever it's summoned, you get to add another UA from deck to hand. So allows for a lot of consistency, and also whenever UA is special summoned, all UAs you control, actually no, all monsters, it doesn't even have to be UAs. All monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense, so that's really good for like pumping up your beat sticks too. Next, I play 3 copies of UA Signing Deal. Signing Deal is so important in this deck. You want to see this card as soon as possible, especially because Rhoda is now down to 1. This allows you to get to your UA monsters a lot faster. You get to special summon a UA. You take damage equal to its level times 300. Which honestly it isn't really that bad because you're just getting the monster that you need. It can't be used as fusion, synchro, or Xyz material. Its effects negated, but usually when it's on the field, all you do is just bring it back and then special summon another monster from your hand, a different UA, and then once the monster summoned by this card's effects back in your hand, it's then live again. So this card is really good. You want to see it as soon as possible. 3 copies of Power Jersey. I know a lot of people like playing it at either 2 or 1, but I like seeing this card often. So I played at 3. It's really good for like equipping onto your beat sticks like Dreadnought Dunker or Mighty Slugger. It allows them a second attack, double the battle damage. This card makes OTKs very possible, very live. So I like seeing this card often. I also play 2 copies of Turnover Tactics. It's really good to have this card face down, and then when your opponent would drop monsters from their extra deck, you can just use this. Those monsters would go back to the extra deck, and they can only summon monsters from their main deck. So it's really good for getting rid of troublesome monsters from your opponent's extra deck, as well as switching around your own monsters as well. Now that Rhoda's at 1, we're only playing 1 copy, but it's good to get you to midfielder a little bit faster. I'm also playing 1 copy of Monster Recovery. It kind of helps those like brickish hands, so you can just shuffle it all back into the deck. Open up with hopefully a better hand after that. I'm also playing 2 copies of Monarch Stormforth. You can tribute 1 monster your opponent controls in order to do a tribute summon. So for like your Ace and your Mighty Slugger, they're level 5, so you can just tribute one of your opponent's monsters to drop them and have them on board. And then once you at least have a monster on board, you can start doing some of the special summoning from your hand. Also, 2 copies of Feast of the Wild level 5. This card's actually really good for setting up plays. Like, if you have your 2 level 5s in hand or in graveyard, you can just drop them both. And then if you have other UAs in hand, you can then just switch them out. Or you can use those 2 monsters and just overlay into whatever rank 5. But extra deck you don't even need to go into really, but we can talk more about that later. 1 copy of Regeki, of course, just nukes boards. 1 copy of Book of Moon. So that's it for spells. I run a really heavy spell lineup. And for traps, I just keep it light. 2 penalty box. This card's really good because you can banish an opponent's monster until their next standby phase if they were to go into battle with any UA monster. So basically, like, a lot of their beat sticks can't do anything because if they try to attack, it'll just be banished. Or if this card's engraved, you can banish it, search out a UA spell card that you need. And lastly, for traps, 3 copies of Trap Stun. This deck is very OTK centric, and you don't want your opponent stopping your OTK with their traps, so Trap Stun really helps nullify that problem. Okay, that's it for main deck. I'll move on to my extra deck. Colossal Fighter, just 1 copy, but Colossal Fighter is really good because all your UAs are warriors, so you can easily see him going up to like 3,500 attack or more. Just Effect Veiler's your only tuner, but you have a wide variety of levels, so there's a lot of different options for synchro summoning available. Crimson Blader's another really good level 8. It basically shuts down your opponent from level 5 and higher monsters their next turn after it inflicts battle damage, so that's another really cool option. Scrap Dragon, just to get rid of some troublesome cards. Stardust is always just a really good level 8 just for protection. Same with Spark, basically the same thing. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend's basically a mirror force as a synchro monster, so he's really good. Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend's actually exceptionally good. He can just nuke all other special summoned monsters your opponent controls and then deal 500 damage for each, so this guy's really good. And then for level 7 synchros, we have Black Rose Moonlight. Really good again for like shutting down the level 5 and higher monsters. One copy of Black Rose just to nuke the board. And Clear Wing. Clear Wing's really good for like negating monster effects. He's also really good for like gaining attack and beating over a lot of other troublesome monsters, so that's why I play him. And then for level 6, I play a copy of Goyo Guardian. So that's it for synchros. There are actually 11 synchros that I'm playing, even though I'm only playing Effect Veiler. But again, with UAs, you don't even really need to go into the extra deck. But I just have one here just because. So we play one copy of Volcasaurus. Really good. Just pop a monster and then inflict damage equal to that monster's attack. Freezadon, just kinda to help out some of your other XZ's monsters. And then for rank 7s, we got one copy of Dracosac, one of your main staple rank 7s. Basically, if you have level 7s you can go into and you want to make a rank 7, Dracosac's always a good choice. You can detach, special summon 2 tokens, and then you can just tribute one of those tokens and then pop any card on the field. Unfortunately, Dracosac can't attack the turn you activate that effect. And then for my last monster, Big Eye. Big Eye is also really good rank 7. Detach 1, target a monster your opponent controls, take control of that monster. Big Eye can't attack, but you're probably just going to use that other monster you just stole to like swing. And usually when you steal your opponent's monster, it's basically game. So there you have it. That's my UA deck profile. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.